like, at what point do you make a stand? So I don't know where you guys stand. It's been a hard place. It's this World Cup has just put us all in this place where it's like that stuff's on the mind as well as the soccer, and it's unfortunate. And I feel like we're dealing with it real time here.
I mean, it's tough, right? You talk about what I heard you guys talking about being a guest in another nation and things like that, and
Right.
and
But I mean, if you're going to host the biggest tournament in the world, where you're going to have millions of people from every corner of the world, from different walks of life, flock into your country, then maybe you should loosen your rules up just a little bit.
Sri Lanka doesn't. Look at Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's tough, and like, it's not always just on the players to say something.
Right.
And it's like, what? And then that's the whole point is like, so they've already said that, like, don't do this. We're going to give you all a yellow card, yada, yada, yada. So then find something different. Like,
So
do
different.
a different thing.
Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying?
Different.
Like,
yeah.
Because, that's kind of how I felt about the kneeling stuff. Like, it was dope when Kaepernick did it because he drew attention to the thing he wanted to draw attention to. Then it just became about that action and not what the attention was supposed to be on. Mm-hmm. So then you got to switch it up and do something else. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, protest / speaking your mind / demanding better from society shouldn't have a playbook. You know what I mean?
Yo, bro, my rainbow shoelaces. Like, you tell the tournament organizers, they're just rainbow shoelaces. But then after the fact, you're like, they represented this.
What I don't understand is what people fail to realize is every country has its flaws.
It's true. You know? That's very true. I mean, yes.
But it's always. I don't understand why people, when they look at a host nation, they look at, oh, look at all this stuff, look at all this bad stuff. We should
look at Brazil, look at Russia, the past hosts. Like when we were looking, there's favelas and gang violence in Brazil, and
I mean, look at America. We just ripped rights away from women.
Yeah, exactly. in certain states, like it's the same. Yeah, there's like Piers Morgan is. I'm not saying he's great or anything, but he brought up some interesting points because I was listening to him about the Ronaldo, the business, and he brought up a point about, like, 1 in 4 of these nations at the World Cup, they have laws against homosexuality, and it's as horrible as it is. It's 1 in 4. It's like, whoa.
That's great.
It's that.
I
so
think,
that's
I think
it's
one of the African nations. I could be wrong, but I think one of the African nations. There's something against that. I could be wrong. I don't know.
So another person brought up that it could come down to religion, and you're like, oh, you're hating on us for our religions, and and then I'm like, at certain points, I guess there's a cross culturalization with religion and at a certain point, where are you when you are trying to embrace, when you're trying to extend the olive branch to the Western world? At what point are you making concessions?
Well, I mean, religion is a plague upon mankind, so it's the cause of a lot of problems to begin with. Like, why would anybody care about, like, women being equal, homosexual, who would care about any of this shit if it wasn't for religion?
If they weren't programmed to care about it.
Well, here's something my mom told. Well, I actually have a couple of things, so I'm going to go off the head on a little bit of different topics here. So QATAR, like the majority of the Middle East, is predominantly Muslim, right? And they're like the very strict conservative Muslim. The women wear the what are those things called?
Hijabs, I think. Yeah.
The hijabs, and women are seen as property more than people, and they have to get permission from the man to do anything. That's the whole Middle East. And what a lot of people wish a lot of people understood about that is having a World Cup in the Middle East, in that region of the world where all these things are common and practiced every day, then there wouldn't be a problem. People would still speak out against it. But if people did their research and knew going into this, oh, this is everyday life for them, well, it doesn't make it right. But still, it's everyday life, and it's been that way for thousands of
Muslims
years.
don't drink alcohol. So why is it a surprise that when 2 days before the World Cup, they're like, no alcohol? Although
Muslims don't drink alcohol?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
most Muslims do not.
That's the one thing, too, is, you know, most religious people and even regimes do value money more than their principles. But you every now and again will run into a country like a Qatar that they have so much money, they have so much control, you know, like the people
they also
in
have
charge
enemies
there
nearby that want what they have, so
Oil
they
money.
also feel a need
Oil
to
money.
extend an olive branch to USA and to other nations to also foment security relations. There's that also in play.
Oil money.
There was a really good video, series of videos on TIFO on YouTube, TIFO Football. They did about at least 5 episodes just talking about how the World Cup ended up in Qatar and all the various stuff that was going on that Qatar used to try and like get them to the World Cup. Like they created a $1 billion soccer academy that is what we saw on Sunday has definitely wielded its $1 billion rewards. It was started by Pele and Maradona, by the way.
Well,
oh God.
One thing that I keep telling people is all these issues can be swept under the rug when oil money comes into play. You know what I mean? It's never about the sport or the game anymore. It's just how many zeros can you put at the end of a check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's why the world, you know, like I'm torn, right? Like I understand that, you know, whether you talk Obama or Trump, neither one of them represented me on a world stage of who I am and my kind of values, right? So how many Qataris are like that? How many South Africans are like that? How many people from Senegal are like that?
How many Iranians are like that when their national team is not singing the national anthem in solidarity with a lot of their fans? I think they're trying to speak out about the female violence that's going on over there.
It's like the Russia-Ukraine situation. The majority of Russians are against it.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious. You know that concert I told you I went to, that Slaughter to Prevail, they're proudly Russian, and like they're literally like, guys, I don't know. He's like, we've played plenty of shows in Ukraine. We consider them our brothers. I don't know what the hell is going on here. You know, it's just like people are not who these people are that quote unquote represent them. But it's tough because you had so it's hard to want to criticize because I understand that, but you know, and I want the World Cup in Africa, but South Africa wasn't all fucking sunshine and lollipops. Like I'm sure it's better than it was, and it was way better than it had been.
I mean, look at this one of the countries that hosted the Africa Cup of Nations. They had to have military personnel and vehicles and stuff outside one of the stadiums because the violence is so bad.
That's wild.
That is. I do recall that. Yes.
But what I tell people a lot is, because I'm somewhat a history minor, along with a little bit of what I'm trying to say is to finish up this topic.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in it. Yeah, good idea.
To another topic is, I've taken a little bit of a read through every piece of religious text. So the Quran, the Bible, the Torah. So I know a little bit about what each belief is about and stuff like that.
Have an idea about, I've done similar.
That doesn't necessarily mean I have to pick one. It just gives me a little bit of an idea of like what each group of people believe. You know what I'm saying?
A little insight to that, yes.
Now, a lot of people, when they think of this tournament and everything that's going on, they don't talk about Argentina 78. Have you guys heard the story behind Argentina 78?
No, I don't know how they got the World Cup in 78.
So I don't know that either. But so in the 70s in Argentina, there was this dark cloud over the World Cup. That was kind of the tournament was used as sports washing, quote unquote. that dark cloud was what's known as the Dirty War. So pretty much the Dirty War was this United States-backed military dictatorship. What they would do is they would kidnap pregnant women off the streets. They would force them to give birth in some sort of detention hospital. Then they would give the newborn baby to a military family. And then they would kill the woman, mostly by taking them up in an airplane, chaining a cinder block to their ankles, and shoving them out of the airplane or the helicopter into the ocean to drown. And this was a huge problem going.
I'm reading on this about on the Wikipedia, and there is some legitimacy to this. This is insane. They says this tournament was marred by flagrant controversy, domestic politics, and alleged interference and match fixing by the Argentine authoritarian military junta government, who were using this tournament as an opportunity for nationalistic propaganda and for the relatively new military junta to seek legitimacy on the world stage in Argentina in 1978. Who Argentina won? They beat Netherlands.
There's a lot of match fixing. And have you heard of the Dirty War?
I hadn't heard about that. No,
I would look into it. There's some good YouTube videos and articles out there. I just summed up what I know.
Just long story short, the Dirty War is the name used by the military junta or civic military dictatorship of Argentina for the period of state terrorism in Argentina from 1974 to 1983, nearly a decade, as a part of Operation Condor, during which military and security forces and right-wing death squads in the form of Argentine Anti-Communist Alliance hunted down any political dissidents and anyone believed to be associated with socialism, left-wing Peronism, or the Montoneros movement. That is
Does it say anything about the kidnapping of pregnant women?
I'm sure it does. If they want to get into it, the Dirty War.
Yeah, if you want to get into some heavy reading.
Yeah. Let's pull back to now that the emotions have subsided and we're a little bit more
I was just
worried about
Argentinian
politics. Let's go back to the game now that the edge has been taken off and maybe we've calmed down. So the game started off pretty great for USA.
Well, wait, what did you think of the lineup?
I was like, "Where's Gio Reyna?" And where's and that was my thought. Also, where's Brendan Aronson?
Against England?
Pardon?
Do you think he'll play against England?
Who, Brendan?
No, I for England, I would have the same lineup. I would just put CCV instead of Zimmerman, and I would put Reyna in the lineup and Aronson in the lineup.
I don't think you need to change a thing unless these guys are ran dogged. If they're super tired. The thing is, that first half, they had a lot of energy left at that first half. Second half, I don't know. They both those teams are starting to run silly in that second half. So I don't know.
Well,
about the energy levels.
emotions and were high, and the game was pretty back and forth for a while in the second half. But I mean, I think the reason you don't see Reyna and you don't see Aronson start is because, despite them being probably better players than the alternative, just for example, the Musa, McKinney, Adams midfield works so well together. It doesn't necessarily work as well with a different cog in that piece. You know what I mean? And then Reyna, and they're both basically center attacking midfielders. They're not really wingers, despite the ability to play out on the wing. But Timothy Weah, and proving by getting a goal and being one of the best players out on the field today, he is a pure winger and he can play our system well. And his